I'm pissing myself. Why am I so scared right now? Why am I scared? What have I got to be scared about? I just don't want to disappoint this man. Alright, look at this Donnie. He's looking very, tired and skeptical, and also a little, high out of his fucking mind in this still we have right here. Very flattering image. Yo, my new album is out now, everybody. Yo is out now, available to stream, available to purchase. Bandcamp, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, fucking Beatport. It's out now. I think it's awesome. I love it. I'm really proud of it. Today is the 1 week anniversary of this record's release, and this morning I woke up to a notification that my boy Wonky dropped his review for the album. It's easily my favorite album I've ever done. I love these songs on this record. It's very close to me. You need to be ready. When you release an album to the public, you need to be prepared for all types of reactions, you know? Like, yeah, you might get a couple people that go, yo, this is a great album, I like it, awesome. But at the same time, I've seen people disappointed as well. I've seen people say they prefer the other records. I've seen people that don't like it. It's gonna happen. I'm ready for that. I don't want to disappoint Wonky. Wonky has been very, very kind to me. He's reviewed all of my records ever since the very beginning. I love him. He's amazing. I love the way he talks about music. He's always so earnest, and he does such a great job of doing the background research and really caring about it, really trying to tap into like what the intent of the song was, what he got from it. He's so descriptive, and I'm really honored to have him talk about my music on his platform, on his channel. I'm even more honored that I actually landed his album of the year last year. His album of the fucking year, bro. If you watch WonkyAngle, you know those 9s, they don't come often, man. They're a rarity, and to be among those rare few that scored a 9 is insane, dude. I can't believe it. Let alone album of the year, mate. This guy listens to electronic music like every fucking day. He's not just some guy. He's the WonkyAngle, man. He listens and lives and breathes this shit. So for me to get album of the year is, I still can't believe that. I'm very, very grateful that that album connected with him so much. He taps in, he listens, he enjoys the music. I'm so on it. I'm so fucking on it. And now we have a new album. This is my biggest, most ambitious album. I've really been trying my best with the rollout. I really wanted to push this as like the big Donnie, because I'm proud of it. I want to present it in that way, and I'm very ready. I know I said this in the interview I recently did with Dan, but I know there will be people that hear it and think it's too long. I wish it was shorter. Fully ready for that. Fully accept that. That's cool if you feel that way. I get it. It's bloody long. But I made this album for me. I tried it with the different sequencing, different track lists, and I made it shorter. When I was like sorting it out, I was like, let's make it shorter, and I just didn't like it as much. I had to have it all there, man. I tried just taking away one track. I'll just pick like maybe get rid of that one track, and I would hear it. I was like, nah, it needs that track. The flow is just better. Like, it just works better as a whole piece with all 20. I really felt like it had to be this long, bro. I mean, I don't want to be too arrogant and hasty with my prediction, but I think it's gonna be a positive review. I don't think it's gonna be Horrorskate level positive. That was a glowing review, man. I don't know if he's gonna. I reckon he will like it more than he liked Rekindle. I don't know though. I don't think he'll like New Universes. When I made that song, I literally thought, yeah, WonkyAngle wouldn't like this, but I'm putting it on anyway. I think about you when I make the albums, bro. I always take into consideration the feedback I got from the previous Wonky review or the Not Raw Music review. And I think like, what do you think they would say about this track? I always think about that as I'm making it. I'm rambling, and look, this is me rambling for how long? Like 5 minutes? 6 minutes? I just hit play, you dickhead.
Apologies in advance if I sound a little congested in this one. It's because
mate, I feel you. I've had a bit of a cold on and off lately.
vale-smith.
That's me.
Yo. Alright. Anticipated releases of the year.
I love to hear that. I love it when people look forward to my shit. Put the people on, baby. Thank you so much,
I have enough
Wonky.
videos on him where I just ended up making an official discography review playlist for him.
Oh, seriously? Hey, legend.
Pretty crazy how far he's come since I did my first video on his now delisted album 0.
I appreciate you saying that, and I do sometimes think, like, I always hate coming off like I'm tooting my own horn. I really don't want to come off that way. But I do quite often, like, think when I'm listening back to like the newer stuff, like, man, I really feel like if myself, like when I was 16, 17, when I first started, if they were just given, if I could travel to the past and just say, hey, listen to this is what you make in a few years, I really feel like they would, like, myself would be like, Oh my god! Like, I always say that. I say that quite a lot, but I'm quite happy with the progress. I didn't think I would be at the level I'm at until later. I'm really proud of where I'm at. I really am.
All for a cascade.
Yeah.
Which I low-key wish you would just, like, put up
I've been thinking about it, bro. Look, hey, here's the deal. Look.
kind of archival upload somewhere.
Yeah, I've been look. Let me talk about that. Alright, All for a Cascade, yeah. I don't like the album and all that, but yeah, I feel like, here's the thing, I haven't got the files for it. That's the thing, I need to find a way to get the files for it again, because right now it's like, there's only two options. I either have it on streaming with everything else, or I don't. And out of those two options, I choose no. But if I had the files, bro, I'd pop it up on like a Bandcamp thing. Like, I wouldn't mind doing that, but I don't have the files, so... Because yeah, I just feel weird just like having it just like not available, I guess. Like, even though I don't like the idea of it being like side by side with like the new stuff or anything, because I do think the production is so shoddy. I don't want to think about the mixing and the fucking sound effects, and just the shit I was doing was just so like, you just weren't ready for it, bro. You didn't need to release an album. You could have waited. You could have just perfected yourself, and then like I you know what? That's always what you say. You know, if I just made my first album and I was like 4 or 5 years deep into it, bro, I would have started off with like you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I do wish I had the files, because I feel like I should put it up somewhere.
Since it's not nearly as embarrassing as he thinks it is.
But it is, but it isn't.
Being way less well polished than his later projects is really not a good reason to outright prevent people from finding it. But
I know, you know what? That's exactly how I've been feeling. Literally, you took the words right out of my mouth. I've been thinking, like, you know what? My own personal bullshit isn't. And yeah, you're right. I completely agree. And I'm upset that I have put out there the notion that that's how I feel. It's not how I feel.
His second album, Are You Sick of Being Unlucky, in 2020 was even better produced and ended up as an honorable mention on my year-end list for that year.
Yeah, oh man, I always look at this album really fondly, man. I feel like this album, like, with the Speak and Spell push and everything, and I feel like it came out at a very good time. You know, it definitely was the most exposed my music had been up until that point, and I think some people do still consider it my best project. I really hate some of the mixing choices. I think it sounds a little too, like, just muddy at points. Like, the bass on Hair Hatch Pursuit. Why did I mix that on Bluetooth headphones? What the fuck was I thinking? It's fucked, man. Yeah, I do look at this album pretty fondly. I think it's got some of my neatest ideas.
His third album, Chorus Gate, he leveled up to a whole different level that I was absolutely not prepared for.
Yeah, I'm so glad that he took it so positively.
I ended up marking it as my #1 favorite album of 2022.
I can't believe it. Just hearing it, I know it happened already. I'm still not fucking over it. It's mad to me.
He did also follow that up with another album in the same year, Rekindle, which was not a level up to me.
Lies.
But more of a return. Some people like that one more.
Yo, you're just saying, if you like Rekindle more, I value your life more than other people. I'm kidding. But Rekindle fucking rules, man.
To tease his fifth proper album, particularly big one, a larger scale project that got more indulgent and stretched on for over 70 minutes.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, that in itself got me really excited. 70 minutes.
Did it? Oh, yo, did it really? Oh, yo, I'm glad to hear that. As a up and coming producer, like an underground creative, like making a long album was like, oh, here we fucking go. Like, mate, you ain't all that. Because you want to reel people in. You want to get people to check you out, and it's harder to do that if you have some giant fucking like double disc. You know, it's like, all right, it's like, you know what I mean? Because I want to respect the listener's time. You know, I was conscious of it as well, but I really, really felt like this album had to be the big Donnie, man. Like, I really, really loved it, like, as a whole piece. I was like, to me, it doesn't feel that long, man. Like, I feel like I was listening to it, like, just, how did you really feel? Like, I used to think To Be Unlucky feels longer to me, man. Like, I swear, bro. When I listen to it, obviously I'm very biased, so maybe my judgment of it's shrouded, but I don't really care, because again, I'm making it for me. I'm releasing it for people, but I'm making it to please my ear, to make what I perceive to be the type of shit that would inspire my inner child. Like, I want my music to do for other people what Rusty did for me back in the day, and I'm really trying to tap into the shit that excites me. And I feel like that's sort of the key to getting there. In the case of this album, I just felt like it had to be the big opus, you know?
How long I tend to make a lot of my own albums is 256
That's true, yeah, okay.
An hour to 70 minutes is kind of my personal sweet spot for album lengths.
I respect that. I like how people have that, like an ideal track length. Like, I love 15 tracks. I've always loved 14, 15 tracks. I love 39 minutes. That's a personal favorite runtime. I don't think I have an album that is that long, but I love it when an album's 39 minutes for some reason. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, better fleshed out. And now I do also know that I'm in the minority thinking that kind of album length is preferable to something shorter. And the longer you make your album, the more of a risk it becomes.
Exactly. You have to make... That's the thing. I was starting to think, like, am I fucking up, or are some of these tracks, like, clearly worse than others? You know, like, man, like, it was a real battle. I really, really fought over it. Because I feel like that's like it's like a huge part of this album's identity, you know, at a certain point. I had to really justify it, you know. Like, I was like, okay, you're asking people to listen to your music for 73 minutes, bro. Like, you need to, like, give them some shit to enjoy and, like, make it engaging and, like, really make it feel worth the front to back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I liked it more at 28 and it worked. I was like, I feel like it's not that big of a crutch. Like, to me, it isn't one at all. And then I thought, like, well, other people may disagree, you know, it's a long album, but again, I had to kind of block that out because I was making something that I wanted to be proud of. I wanted to really confidently be able to look at this album and be like, yeah, I made a 20-track album and I think it's all dope and I'm proud of it. I really felt it, man. I really felt it. Like, I guess I'm reiterating myself, but yeah, like, I had to sort of come to terms with the fact that, like, yeah, not everyone's going to feel the same way, but that's okay, because this is for you. This is your passion project.
How enthusiastic he was about the material to come on this project, I couldn't help but also get excited for it myself.
Oh, that's cool. I'm glad. Yeah, like, I really was so eager for this to fucking drop, man. Like,
when he released the album's lead single, Pristine Drifting, which...
Oh, yeah? You like that?
I do not make this statement lightly.
Ooh, what's he about to say?
This track near instantly became my favorite track he's ever made to date.
No way! You didn't say anything, dude. Yeah, this is what happens, bro. Fucking Ryan Lee does this shit too. He'll be real quiet until the review. Although he did say in his "Don't Get Hurt" reaction that he didn't fuck with Pristine Drifting. He was like, he thought it was alright, and then he thought Sure was better, and then Don't Get. But this is interesting to me, bro. I was very careful with my single choices, so this is interesting.
This is the best collection of lead melodies he's ever put to record.
Right, yeah, completely.
And the way they just kept me wanting to come back to it out of context over and over. These are some melodies which are so good, I feel like they're going to outlive him. None of the other singles were quite
fucking sick to hear. They're gonna outlive... Dude, that is mad. That's actually a mad compliment. Thank you. When I first landed on that lead piano, they're like, I was like in heaven. I was like, what the hell did I just fucking do? Like, I just played that and I was like, what? I just looped that shit for like 2 days before even continuing the song because I loved it so much. Yeah, I'm glad you feel it, bro.
On that level, and I was a little underwhelmed by the second single, Sure.
Yeah, right. This is fascinating to me, okay?
Thought it didn't really stick out from what I already expected out of his usual productions.
Sure, okay.
As I did with fourth single, Love Struck, which was slightly better, but in a fairly
Love Struck's fire, man.
Specific way.
Alright, fair enough.
The slightly scattered quality of these singles, I did start to get a tiny bit worried that he might not fully justify those 73 minutes as well as he possibly could. But again, all of these tracks were at least good and could possibly. And now we finally have the album.
Here we go.
I've been sitting with it for about a week now, and the final verdict for me is that, yeah, this pretty much lived up to the hype I'd set myself.
Yeah! Let's go, Wonky!
First teased its existence. Yeah, this album is the most accomplished work so far, exactly as I hoped. Probably his best from a technical level, too.
Alright, so Chorus Skate you do like more. Got it.
Now, it's as good as Chorus Skate. While I like all 20 tracks on this thing,
What? All 20? Holy fuck.
I think I would be lying if I said I wasn't feeling the length on this one sometime.
Really? Oh yeah, alright. Again, I expected this to happen. I expected people to say that. You can't make a 20-track fucking album and then get surprised when someone's like, oh yeah, I really felt the length. Like, no shit, it's 20 tracks. I knew that was gonna happen. Or like, you know, whether it was, if not Wonky, someone else. I knew that, you know. But then again, I have seen people say, like, you barely feel the length. I've seen some people say, like, yeah, it flies by. It doesn't feel at all. Like, it's like, you know, I've seen people say that they don't really think the length is like even that noticeable. So I guess it's going to be different for everyone, but yeah, okay.
I don't think it's in dire need of editing either. I've heard albums that justified this length better, but I've also heard albums that justified this length far worse. It is definitely a bit on the
I'll take that
unwieldy side, and I can see that being
unwieldy. I like that. I mean, obviously that's like a negative. That's like a negative because it's almost like, I guess it suggests that I'm stubbornly sort of like married to it being a long album, and to a point where it's like you didn't need to But I like that. I like the idea of using that word for an album.
It's not really that much he hasn't already proven himself to be capable of. It's not.
Wait, really? Okay. I mean, yeah. I guess like it does sound like something made by the guy who made Coruscate. I get that, but I don't know. I felt like maybe I'm just jaded because I'm the one who made it, but like, yeah, I don't know. It feels like an advancement to me musically. I feel like there's some. Yeah, hold on. Let me let you cook real quick before I start. Like,
not an album. On the other hand, everything I loved about Coruscate is also here in full force.
Cool.
All the melodies and the uplifting atmosphere are just as good as they were before.
Hey, that's great to hear because you love that shit. So I'm really glad that you're saying that.
It's the kind of project.
You're gonna go track by track.
I will say the album does get off to a bit of a weirdly unassuming start with. The opener, Skip Scarlet.
That's crazy. Wow. I need to hear what you have to say about this.
On one hand, very solid track. Lots of bright melodies, warm and sunny atmospherics, thick and frantic beat work, a few pretty fun, high-detail side tracks that don't feel out of place. Does a good job of setting the tone of what you're out to expect from the rest of the album.
Sure.
I'm just not sure if this track would stick out to me if it weren't the first track on the album.
Fuck. Holy shit. That's got me fucked up. I remember so vividly when from the moment I made Skip Scarlet, from the moment I finished that track, all the way to the album release, I was like, this is a shoo-in for the fan favorite track. I was like, this song has got it all. This song is like all the good shit about my previous tracks in one like crazy chaotic opening track. I was like, this shit is like, this is gonna go down as like a favorite, surely. To me, it was like one of my most impressive tracks. But I think, fuck. I'm realizing now though, this is the only time I've ever done this. I went into making that song thinking, all right, now let's make the opening track. Every other album, the opening track just ended up being what it was. It was just the most like ideal choice for the opening track. I was like, oh yeah, that makes the most sense to be the opener. Ceramic Skies was never intended to be the opener. Wanna Fly, same thing. Turmoil Majula, same thing. Like literally every album, I don't go in like, okay, time to make the opening track. For this one I did, because like no other track fits as well as the opener. It has to be Skip Scarlet. Like I tried other tracks. Like no, Skip Scarlet was made with that in mind. Like, and I'm thinking maybe that's why I was so like hype off of it. Damn, that's gonna be fucked up, bro. I thought that was like 100% guarantee gonna be one of his favorites. That's crazy. I love it. I kind of love it when shit like that happens, when what you don't expect. I love these reviews because they really have me like thinking about like how my songs are perceived, because I don't really think about that as I'm making the track. I'm just trying to please myself, please my own ear, just make what I enjoy. That's all I'm really trying to do. That's it. So when the reviews come out, I start like thinking, oh yeah, I guess I can see, like, I didn't think of it that way. You know, it's hard to gauge it when you're making the tune, man. This is fascinating, man. I really thought that was like 100%. I was like, it's a no-brainer. Fuck.
Wanna Fly from Rekindle especially comes to mind.
Sure,
I mean, it's a serviceable.
I guess I can see that, but I guess when I hear them, I don't think they're similar. But
enough opener. It's just.
But then again, what the fuck do I know?
Not quite the memorable punch to start us off on that is earlier album openers like Turmoil Majula and Ceramic Skies were. No, if you want the.
That is surprising as fuck to me. I was like, Skip Scarlet is 1,000% my best opener so far. Like, I was so confident in that. That's so mad to me.
First real highlight on this thing is the second track, Dream State Indulgence.
Tight.
Provides that uplifting atmosphere in a very immediately striking way.
Sick.
And
that's how immediately striking. When I made that song, I was like, okay, for this track, I want to just have a combination of samples and vocals and melodies that just right away just sound like fucking heaven. Like, it's just instantly, it's just like, this is the prettiest shit of all time. That's all I was trying to make, was just the prettiest possible loop I could make. That was all I wanted to do. I was like, get the right chords, get the right synths, and just whatever you need, just make something that's just like right away, it's like striking. It's like, this is just very pretty. So I'm glad you just said that was instantly striking.
That much easier.
That's exactly what I wanted.
It kind of switches off between tracks like these, which either do feel particularly striking as standouts, or do a similar sound that, I don't know, mainly reminds me of stuff he's already done before.
yeah. I mean, come on, I mean, give you some. I gotta, give you what you come to vale-smith for a certain product, right? I don't want to just fully switch it up 100%, right? You gotta have a couple. You gotta fit the vale-smith status quo a little bit, Obviously, evolution's great, and I feel like I do switch it up a lot in the second half. To me, the first half of the album is just like bangers. It's just like, let me just make some vale-smith bangers, right? And it comes in different forms. It comes in house type stuff, or it comes in the frantic track, so, like Skip Scarlet or Fantasy, or then you got the catchier, more lower key ones like the Dying Mitsu. I like thinking of the first half, as like vale-smith in its most cutting, purest form, just for 9-10 tracks, and the second half is where you get the more experimental and daring songs, I guess. Yeah, I can see how that could be maybe disappointing, especially if you're hearing songs in that first half that show new ideas, and then you kind of hear me regressing to old ideas. I feel what you're trying to get across there, man.
In My Real Time is another very nice and sunny and pleasant downtempo cut with his trademark melodic progressions.
I thought that would not be a favorite. I nearly took that song off last minute. When I first made it, I loved it, but I think it was just due to overexposure. I just started to kind of find errors in the production or whatever.
Kind of what he did with his old track Think Lavender, with a more organic edge provided by a lot of these.
Oh yeah, it is! Dude, that is pissing me off. That's the second time that's happened. He said it with Nitrix all day, and he said that was veracity. Why is that? That's bothering me, man. I don't know, I didn't realize it, but yeah, it kind of feels like an updated version of a... It didn't feel like that in the moment, though. But you're completely fucking right. Why is that weirdly disappointing? Because it's fucking with the perception I thought I had of these songs. This happens every time a review of mine comes out. I'm like, shit, really? Damn.
Again, very nice. Just not really a particular standout to me.
Okay.
Pristine Drifting, which I was hoping this track would have transitioned into its surrounding tracks better, even if it's...
Okay, no, come on, no. Okay, no, fuck right off with that. I'm sorry, Wonky, but no, you're tripping. I worked so hard on the fucking transition. Bruh, I'm sorry though, but look. In My Real Time, Pristine Drifting, and Insatiable Laputa, the flow is perfect. What do you mean I could have made it transition better with the surrounding tracks? What do you mean? I made it very carefully so that the segue between those three in particular go crazy.
It does feel like a bit like a disconnected island in greater context.
It does?
But I do still stand by my...
Really? I can't hear that. I can't for the life of me hear that. That is fascinating to me. I cannot hear that. I'm playing it in my head right now, the way it feels in the album, the transition, and Pristine Drifting feels like a disconnected island? No way. I would be fascinated if you guys agree with that. If you do, then that's fine. I'm not gonna take it personally. I'm just really surprised because I don't see it that way at all. I feel like it logically springboards off of the momentum set by In My Real Time. I'm surprised to hear that, but again, I want you to be honest with exactly how you feel. Obviously, I would prefer it. I would prefer it if you did. I don't want you to I want you to say exactly what you thought when you were hearing it. This is really, really cool to me. I'm learning shit about my own album. That's fucking awesome to me. Please let me know if you agree with that. I'm really interested.
Previous statement that this is almost certainly my new all-time favorite vale-smith cut. This track really just makes me so damn happy, and every single melodic line in this thing, from the chopped up guitar chords in the beginning to the fuzzy filtered vocal chops.
I gotta do a breakdown of everything going on. There are so many samples happening on that song, working in tandem to make the groove what it is. I need to do a breakdown because it's fucking awesome.
Oh my god, it is so freaking good. I just have no words for it.
I'm glad, man. I'm really
glad. I kind
of
wish he made this the opener, maybe also turn that lead-in he made for its initial promo video into an intro cut or something.
Oh yeah, that promo lead-in is a different song. It's a whole different song that was actually originally the opening track. That was originally the opener, and it's 6 minutes long. It's the fucking weirdest track I've ever made. It's got vocal shit. It's got the most bombastic intro. It's mad. I'll have to drop it sometime. In the promo video for Pristine Drifting, what you're hearing at the beginning is a sliver of that song.
Could have been better placed in fuller album context than it was. It's still such a fantastic standalone
I'm
cut
really
that it's hard
surprised
to
you
care
feel
about
that way,
too
man.
much.
Genuinely.
Next up, we get Insatiable Laputa.
fucking best song on the album, baby.
Which vale-smith has mentioned on Twitter is his
I love how you do that. You look into shit.
own personal favorite track on the album for
I love how you look into the shit. Like, you actually do your fucking research and you enjoy it.
having
I love
his
it.
favorite melodies.
You said that, like, favorite. The way you said it was like, I guess he thinks it's the best track because it has his favorite.
I don't know
Yeah,
if I
bitch.
fully agree with him,
Alright, fine, whatever.
but it is certainly another very nice cut, and
Thank you.
might be
That's the oldest track on the whole album. That was one of the first tunes I made off of right after Rekindle when I started working on it. That was, I think, the second or third track I had made for the whole album, and I was in love, man. I was in love with that shit right away. I was like, this album is gonna be something fucking awesome. I can feel it. Right when I made that song, I was like, this is gonna be tight, bro. And normally when I make a song that long ago, far from the release, by the time we get to the release, I'm sick of it. I'm like, oh, this track sucks. Like, I should take it off. I'm just sick of hearing. Like, that's how it happened within my real time. Like, by the time it got close to the release, I'd heard that song so many times, I forgot how much I originally loved it when I first made it. Obviously, that's just due to my own overexposure. With Insatiable Lap Eater, that's the oldest track on the whole album. I still fucking adore it. Every time I play it, I'm like, this is one of my best fucking tracks.
But what I turned out to like the most about this track was how it directly transitioned into the next track,
Love Struck, yeah?
Love Struck.
Yeah, I love
Which
that.
is basically serving as a part 2 to the previous track.
It does kind of feel that way. I agree with that. Yeah, no, it is, because I literally made Love Struck the day after I made Insatiable Lap Eater. Like, it was like right after, I swear. It was like the next song I had made for the album was Love Struck. So they just fit together. Like, it's just been that way from the beginning. I just kept it. I was like, why move it? They just flow into each other.
I think I prefer Love Struck slightly for having a bit more energy,
Oh, seriously? That's cool.
but I also view them as inseparable from each other.
I love
and
that.
ironically, they're far more inseparable than the following pair of cuts in Fantasy Interlude and Fantasy. We ended up getting into the Fantasy Interlude markedly more.
Really, yeah? I like it too, but
This cut
he said markedly more.
hits you with all these skittering garage beats going over this
No,
single intense.
No, don't do fancy like that, bro, please.
This one feels like standing outside during a windy day when the sky is overcast.
Yeah, I feel you. It's like saying goodbye to, like, beauty. It's like you're walking away from the greatest experience. That's kind of how Fantasy Interlude feels to me.
It's very nice and well detailed, has a number of interesting chained ups.
Sick.
And I think I might actually mark it as my least favorite track in the bunch for happening to
On the whole album?
be the track that stuck out the least to me out of all 20 here.
Oh, really? That's interesting. I wouldn't have guessed that. So wait, it wasn't New Universes. The fuck?
But I mean, at the very least, if that's the worst this album gets for me, that's only a testament to how consistent this whole project is.
Hey, I'll take it, yeah.
Transitioning very well into the following cut, Neat Tricks Ultra.
Yeah, that transition, yeah. So I had already made Neatrix before, and I was thinking, like, we need something in between Love Struck and Neatrix All Day. I was there because Love Struck went into Neatrix All Day for so long, and I was like, I feel like the transition could be better. I feel like I could do something better. It feels like there's a gap in that album. I need to fill it, and that's when I made Fantasy. And the Fantasy Interlude is literally just the opening 2 minutes of the first track I ever made for this record. It's called On Top of the Crane. Fantasy Interlude is just the first 2 minutes of that song. Yeah, I ended up not using the full track because I wasn't as big on the later segments of the track. So I thought, I loved that first 2 minutes. So I was like, let me use that. That's going to be the interlude that leads into Fantasy, which is going to bridge the gap between Love Struck and Neatrix. And then I was thinking, since it is bridging the gap between Love Struck and Neatrix, I just took the start of Neatrix and glitched the living shit out of it for the end of Fantasy so that when it flowed, yeah, there you go. That's how it came together.
Smashing you in the face with these intense blasts of synth chords.
Harry went fucking bonkers on the mastering, man. The percussion at the end sounds so good, man. I don't know how he did it. I could not get it to sound the way he got it to sound at all.
And this first half of the track listing culminates in Diane
Keto Mitsu, bro.
Kato Mitsu.
Diane Keto Mitsu. It's a mixture of Diane Keto, the Cure Master, and Yoshimitsu.
Much lower.
That was the original album title, by the way.
He kind of reminds me of Ice from Rekindle.
Yeah. Same sample pack, so yeah.
And I do have to give this track special credit for its outro, which feels like
Yes, dude. One of my favorite outros.
Immediately strikes me as me like, oh, that was really nice.
Yeah, I'm glad, man. That's one of my favorite moments. The outro of Fantasy and the outro on Dying Keto, I really like.
As usual, showing vale-smith's love for making these really sunny and uplifting.
Yeah, I like how you can feel my love for that shit. I really do. I am obsessed with that style of electronic music. The first 10, 11 tracks of this album is me just unashamedly just making my ideal bangers. And then I start like really I guess, venturing off later on in the record. Yeah.
After this point, the album starts to take a little bit of a turn, delivering a stretch of tracks which feel like they significantly up the stakes and end up with
I love that they feel that way. That's tight. Yeah, Real Bright Blue feels like the first one where it's like, oh, here we go. We're in the deep end now. Like, yeah.
a whole bunch of new universes, which may be the single most impressively bombastic cut I've ever heard.
I was so ready for him to go off on this song.
vale-smith.
New Universes was 1,000% the closest track to not making the record. I was very nervous about the mixing. I thought it was intentionally mixed to be blown the fuck out and just like, it's honestly more high end than low end. It sounds like a crazy bass, but it's not much bass on that track. It's just like distorted, fucking crunchy, high end shit. And then there's vocals, and it's just blown the fuck out. I was kind of inspired by like Memphis rap and like Lil B and shit like that, and just the way the mixing's just fully fucked. I wanted to sort of recreate that bit in like a bright, glistening vale-smith kind of way. And that's why you have like a Memphis rap sample in the back of that song, because that was just where the idea for that track came. I just wanted to make my version of just like a amped up, blown out, bassy fucking like anthem with like trap percussion. I was just thinking, this is not Wonky's bag. I'm surprised you liked it. I'm glad, man. I'm glad.
Monolithic chords and intense buzzing bass and clouds of distorted noise. It may border on being an interlude, but it delivers so much of a concentrated punch that every time it gets started,
I like that concentrated punch. Yeah, that's exactly. I agree. Yeah, I get what you mean about it bordering on being an interlude. I kind of see it as the bridge between the first half and the second half of the record. I wouldn't call it an interlude, but it kind of functions as like the separating point.
Oh shit, it's really going down now. This cut is followed by The Real Bright Blue, which I think might be my second favorite cut on the album behind Pristine Drifting.
People are fucking with that. I nearly took that song off as well. I nearly took it off because I was nervous about it. I wasn't sure if like I pulled off the ending that well. After a while I couldn't tell if that like actually hit in the way I thought it did. That song is definitely the one out of the whole album that's gotten the highest praise. Most people who have messaged me about their favorite track, I've gotten more for Real Bright Blue than any other track, so that's the one that's been getting the best sort of reception. When I made it, I was not really in the best mood. I was having a bit of a bad day, and I wasn't sure if like it just came off confused and broken because of that mood, and maybe it just shouldn't be on the record because I wasn't sure if I don't know. I thought that maybe it was just like it would just stick out as just like a weird moment that doesn't actually work. I couldn't really tell because of just the emotional state I was in. So I'm glad people are taking to it so much. Yeah, it seems to be the fan favorite.
I was not expecting him to make something like this and how well it went over, but the mix starts to get progressively glitchier and feels like it's hitting you with more granular details and weird turns as it goes along.
Yeah. Dude, y'all should have seen the session. I was upstairs up until like 4 a.m. just going fucking bonk. I was zooming into every file, snipping out the most minute shit, fucking spamming it, chucking 20 million glitch effects on it. Shout out to Hysteresis, by the way. Would not have been able to make that song without that plugin.
Things suddenly get very Audiker Xi-ish.
Wow.
All the melodies go away.
Never thought I'd be brought up in the same breath as Ortecker.
They're hit with all the most insane effects and glitch work this album has delivered so far. Oh yeah, there's also a bit of a sparse outro too with all this empty space.
Can't forget the spouse. I love how you go through each track. You really like, oh bro, you're the fucking goat. You think to bring up every element of the song. I fucking
broken
love
up by
you,
these periodic.
So sick.
I've always been a fan of vale-smith's sound design, but I was not expecting something on this level of intensity or experimentalism, and he
Thank you, bro.
knocked it out of the park. You know,
that means a lot to hear. I was so nervous about that track, dude. Oh man, I love sound play, sound trickery, really getting in there. I wanted to make this album feel really high definition, and I felt like I had the skill set to pull that off. It just didn't take a lot of time and a lot of plug-in knob twisting and just. I'm really glad you think I knocked it out of the park, man. I really appreciate that, because that one was definitely one of the most grueling ones to make. I really went full like fucking zombie mode, just like I need this to be perfect. By the end I was like, what the fuck was wrong with me? Does this even work? I can't even fucking tell.
The only thing separating this track from something the real Audiker would actually do is his trademark brightness and happy tone of the melodies that are included.
Right, I guess they wouldn't
that
do
is
that.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
But anyway, after a track of that intensity, we ought to have a bit of a lower key breather, and we get two of those in a row that also managed to be really big favorites of mine. It's definitely not a track where the soul feels absent. That soul is very much immediately present.
Yeah! yeah.
The following track, Waiting, quite possibly the album's deepest emotional moment.
Yes, your boy was sad that day. I thought it was important to include some more like vulnerable moments or like just kind of solemn tracks. You know, since like I'm giving you a big old fucking behemoth record, you know, I thought maybe I'll have some tracks that don't feel so, I guess, massively indulgent in my own musical biases, you know, the melodies and shit. I have a couple tracks that I feel like they're kind of bringing you in and sort of saying, hey, we in this together, bro.
Really nailing that sense of melancholy and longing. A nice reminder that sometimes for happy
That's what
music
I was
to hit
going
the
for.
best,
Yeah.
it could stand to be contrasted with a bit of sadness.
Exactly.
And then, of course,
You gotta have the ups you gotta have the downs to appreciate the ups. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Thank you.
Get right
Bro, you get it, man.
Like into
Fuck
the
yeah.
right-
Okay, literally the only thing that's confused me in this review is the pristine drifting feels out of place comment. That's the only thing. That's the only one where I'm just like, damn, really? I would love to get a second opinion on that. Again, I'm going to reiterate. I really would love to get a second opinion on that. But yeah, you get it, man. You really tap in, bro. I fucking love hearing your reviews so
Precipice, this album's equivalent to his old
Precipice.
track, Setting Sun, hitting you with...
Fuck's sake, it is as well. Fucking hell. You can't keep doing that. It is setting so... Fuck. You're right. I guess not that similar. You know what? Let me relax. That's fine.
With all these delivering such a vibrant burst of energy to really wake you up from the sadder explorations that came before.
Yeah. It feels like a wake up. That's kind of exactly how I wanted to feel like. It snaps you out and brings you back to the beaming fucking sun, baby.
The sound
Let's
palette,
go.
and then that cut leads
Fuck
us
yeah.
into Sure, which, as I mentioned, was my least favorite of the pre-album singles,
Oh yeah.
and I didn't think stuck out to me as anything special for it
With that piano at the end though, bro.
from when I first heard it.
That's just nice though, right?
Although, like Love Struck, this one grew on me a lot more after I heard it in context.
Sick.
Does also admittedly mark the end of that streak of my favorite stretch on the album.
No, don't tell me. Oh my fucking days. You're not gonna go... Nah, you're not gonna tell me you didn't like Full Moon.
As next we get Full Moon Above...
You can't. No, that song's my best song. That's objectively my fucking... That is maybe my favorite. Look, my favorite track on the album changes all the time between Soul Absence, Full Moon, Sister What, and Insatiable. It's one of those four at any given moment. What the fuck?
The Abacus.
Nah, surely not.
A track which, well, very nice as usual.
What are you gonna fucking say
It
now?
kind of returns to the level of quality as some of the lesser cuts in the first half, I guess.
Nah! The fucking drop is crazy. Nah, bro, the melodies on that song are my favorite. That's my favorite moment on the whole album is when the... And then the fucking drums come in, dude. It's so crazy. What?
There's a section in the middle where some of the beats and vocal chops get a lot sparser and
I
more
love that bit, man. That bit's so fucking cool.
off kilter.
Yeah.
A stretch of bright melodies ready to score a cheery overworld theme of like a Zelda type adventure game.
That's how it feels to me as well. I literally think of Zelda. I swear, every time I hear it, I think of fucking Zelda. I can't believe you just said that. And yet you still think it's like, what, one of the
Really
weak...
circling back around to similar territory where the track started with a nice chill little outro of solo guitar plucking. But as nice as all of these pieces come together as a whole and make for an engaging experience, in context I didn't really feel like it stuck out to me.
No, bro. How the fuck?
Felt like it was ideas that other tracks on this album could do better and did.
You tripping, man. I do not feel that at all. I feel like it's very singular in what it provides. I think that journey is just it feels like a whole album in itself, man. I was so fucking pleased with that song. That song is my baby, bro. But hey, I'm glad you said it was an engaging experience. It just wasn't a standout for you. That's shit. Fair enough. Hey,
Didn't
man.
feel like as
I'm
much
just
of an
surprised,
important-
yeah.
I think that's the only track in the second half of the track listing that I wouldn't mark as a highlight.
So crazy. I would never have fucking guessed that.
We're next hit with Don't Get Hurt, a track designed to be a culmination of the ideas behind older tracks of his, like Tethered to Us
Yep.
and
See, he reads the tweets, bro. He goes through Twitter. He reads. That's what I said in the tweet, bro. He does the research. This is why we
Just
love
my luck.
and stand Wonky
And
Angle.
like Pristine Drifting, this track doesn't really transition cleanly out of its surrounding idea.
Yeah, actually, you're right on that one. I disagree with Pristine Drifting, but yeah, Don't Get Hurt. I think it fits in fine. That was the only track I don't have like a smooth transition with, so I do get what you mean. But it transitions into Itinerant, but still nothing really well. So I get what you mean, I guess, but I still think it fits in, like aesthetically. So I don't think it's that jarring.
And kind of
But I guess this is a testament to how immersed you was there, you know? Because if that is an example of a out of place transition, right? Then the whole rest, you must have been like mad immersed, right? Because I mean, that wasn't even that jarring. Right? Please?
The lead vocal chops deliver enough of a different lead melody that could stick on my head completely independent of Tethered to Us.
Nice.
The groove is
I feel like it's the older brother, like it's the upgraded version of that song, yeah.
even more driving. There's that entire breakdown at the end with those awesome blasts of bass.
Mate, that part is fucking mental. I was losing my shit when I made that. That song got made so quick, bro. I literally made that whole track in like 3 hours. I real quick mix mastered it, and I was listening to it on the way to the cinema, and I was like, this is perfect. I'm releasing it just like this. Came out exactly how I wanted it to come. It was perfect. It just poured out of me. It was amazing.
If he hadn't picked this one as a pre-album single, I would have been questioning why the hell he didn't.
I was originally not going to. That's crazy. Yeah, exactly. I had the same thing. The original single rollout plan was just Pristine Drifting, Shore, and Love Struck. That was going to be it. That was, you can ask Sid from Mulcat. That was it. And then literally like a week or two before Don't Get Hurt came out, I said, yo, I think I gotta do Don't Get Hurt as a single. It obviously needs to be a single, but I was originally gonna save it for the album. Ice ended up being the standout off of Rekindle, and that was not a single. I wanted to give that same experience because I could tell Don't Get Hurt was the Ice of this album, like the catchy, like standout, like this is like the hit, you know? So I was like, let me save that for the album. The more I heard it, I was like, come on, mate, this is clearly a single. Let's push this track. I will admit, in retrospect, I did not choose the best tracks for the singles for Rekindle. I could have selected better tracks, so I was like, let me learn from my lesson instead and actually make it a single. I do not regret that. But yeah, I nearly didn't. And then Neatrix All Day was like a last minute, like, fuck it, let's check out one more before the album comes out. Why not? It's a long album. Here's a 5th single. So yeah, that's really funny you said that, because yeah, I was that close to making the mistake.
But that track is followed by Itinerant But Still Nothing, which really stuck out to me before I even first hit play on the album, because it's 8.5 minutes long. And as it turns out, this track turned out to be an impressive sound design workout along the lines of The Real Bright Blue.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I went fucking bonkers on that one as well. That one took by far the longest, as you could probably guess. I finished Itinerant But Still Nothing after about like no kidding, like it was about 18, 19 different separate occasions where I worked on that song, and by the end of all of those it was finished. It was a long fucking process, but yeah, I was very, very committed to making that 8 minutes long. I was literally from the beginning, I was like, I want to make a track that's 8 fucking minutes. Like, I literally had that in my mind from the jump. And I was like, I want to pack it with mad details and have it just be a crazy just odyssey of a fucking track. And I was just really committed to doing that. So a very long process, get all the sounds.
Ordinarily, I might mark the lack of a tune on a track like this as a negative.
I wanted to prioritize making it like a real experience rather than like something replayable and catchy. But I thought, I'd try and weave in some, catchy elements. But yeah, I thought I'd prioritize that.
So many other, like, really bright and colorful tunes. The much darker and grittier approach is refreshing in and of itself.
Yeah, it's the only track I was, like, interested in making, like, a hard banger, really. I guess there's other tracks you could say are kind of like that, like, Neatrix All Day. I don't know, like, that was the only track, Itinerant, that was the only track where I was like, no, I want to make this sound like fucking, like, moody and evil, that was the only one. Gotta keep it varied, I should have at least one track, or at least half a track that's like that.
There are still disconnected melodic elements introduced later in the track, including some, like, Magic Chrono Tricks Point Never E low-key synth blip.
Yeah, yeah, they do there. I know what you mean.
Very surreal and dreamlike section around the 6-minute mark, with even more warm pianos and floating melodies that do technically have a structure, but feel like they could disintegrate into your subconscious at any moment.
Ah! Flawless description, man.
The entire last minute of the track is nothing but very low-key field recordings of the ocean in the distance being filtered around a little bit.
Yeah, that field recordings is actually The Witness. I just sampled The Witness. Thought like that would be the perfect sound to lead us into the end of the record. Kind of see Sister What as like basically the credits of the album. The finale is Itinerant, but Sister What is like the credits.
Pretty epic. Definitely a track that lived up to the scale that its meteor length implied.
Yeah.
But it's not quite the ending. We finally close with one last super cheery piano-backed house cut in Sister What.
Fucking legendary song. Let's hear it.
which basically acts as like a credits roll type
I literally just said that.
moment. One of the tightest dance grooves on the album.
So good. Maybe my favorite melody on the whole record. It goes back and forth between that and Insatiable Lapia, but just the is so crazy.
Even after so many other similar sounding cuts, this still really feels like a satisfying way for the album to finally reach its conclusion.
Awesome.
And yeah, that's finally everything on Yo. And yeah,
what a review, mate. You've done a mazza.
This album is a lot, but it's a lot of fun. I had some pretty dang high.
I love to hear that. I love to hear that as the conclusion. This shit is just a lot of fun. I love that. I fucking love that, man. That's exactly how I want it to feel. I want people to just enjoy themselves with this shit. Like, because you gotta understand, like, me making the music, I'm gleaming out of my fucking mind. I'm trying to make my ideal, perfect, heaven, blissful music. Like, I'm just trying to chase that as hard as I can. And it's been really rewarding to make music that I really do enjoy on that level. Like, this is the type of music that if I found it, if I came across this and I didn't make it, I would be like, this is a fucking gold mine. Like, I really love the idea of someone coming across my music and just feeling like, this is the type of shit I've been looking for. It's like this, but I just haven't been able to find it until this. Like, that's like the ideal shit. I just want people to have fun with this, just get lost in it and just be delighted by the sounds. And I'm really happy to hear just in that simple sentence. It may be long, but it's a lot of fun. Like, that's just all I fucking want to hear, man. Much more than enough for me, bro.
Expectations, Coruscate and Rekindle, completely ignoring their shorter lengths, were markedly better paced and sequenced than this one is.
Do you reckon, yeah? Oh, interesting. Yeah, I suppose Rekindle, I agree. I don't know about Coruscate. But then again, you fucking love Coruscate. Fair enough, that's how you feel. Rekindle, I do think, has a better flow. I don't know, though, actually. I really like the flow of Amyo. I don't know. Yeah, fair enough.
And there are a number of tracks here which kind of just deliver, I guess, the new standard vale-smith sound of very sunny and uplifting garage and future bass, with a few cuts that can maybe feel a bit redundant or filler-ish in context. Well, it may have been...
I feel like the songs like that, to me, though, like, there's quality enough to justify being there. I feel like they still provide a good enough experience in their own right to be placed alongside the ones that are a bit more progressive for my sound, I guess.
Mega opus. It doesn't feel like every track added something as important to the overall experience as the next.
Right, no, I can agree with that.
But complaints like these also has a whole bunch of his best individual tracks to date.
I agree with that statement, but I don't think that's really that. For me, it wasn't enough of a crutch for me to think like, yo, I need to fix that, you know? To me, I felt like the songs, they made me happy enough for me to be like, yeah, this has got to be on the album.
That shows him pushing himself into new territory and deliver some great transitions into each other, like Insatiable Laputa and Lovestruck.
Yeah.
Unwieldy as these 20 tracks may be when considered as a single unbroken whole, even the least memorable moments here is still more than well executed enough to keep me entertained from start to finish.
That means the world, man.
And well,
oh, I love it.
Did feel the length on some listens. Again, it was not as bothersome as it could have been.
That means a lot to hear. I'm glad, man.
There was never a track where I felt the urge to hit the skip button. My occasional issues with it, it's almost certainly going to end up notching a spot on my year-end list somewhere, and this is yet another really strong addition to his catalog. I'll say I'd mark it as my second favorite of his album so far, behind the obvious one, and I'm overall feeling an 8.5.
8.5, bro, yeah!
But of course, this is just my
Let's go!
opinion. You can feel free to disagree with it, but I'd like to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment in the comments.
Man.
Shout out to my Patreon supporters.
Yo, shout out to all those Patreon supporters. You guys are supporting a fucking hero.
See you next time.
TheWonkyAngle. Oh my god, I love you. That was beautiful, mate. Oh man. Oh, I've got to peep the comments. There's my guy Jasho. vale-smith straight up makes comforting music to me. With repeated listens, I'm still able to find amazing little details that add a lot to the overall experience. He's so talented at what he does, and I hope this blissful creativity never stops. It ain't stopping for nothing, baby. New album in 3 months. I'm kidding. This is easily an album of the year contender, yeah? Mate, thanks Jasho, you've been one of my strongest supporters for a while, man. I really appreciate your enthusiasm for my music, and I think you also gave Coruscate Album of the Year. Incredible, man. I really do appreciate you. You're a fucking hero. I'll say it, I'll scream it at the top of my lungs, man. Favorite tracks, Dream State Pristine. Cool. See, that's so wild, man. That's so... Full Moon and Skip Scarlet didn't make best tracks, but New Universes did. I had it fucked up. Least favorite fantasy. Alright, fair play. Jacob Kingsley. Been listening to this album a week. Definitely my favorite vale-smith album. And maybe my favorite album, full stop? What? Are you insane? Thank you, mate. Your favorite album. What? Incredibly fun and replayable, and goes through so many phases and stays interesting throughout. Huge thank you for introducing me to vale-smith. I very much appreciate you both. Having a hard time picking my favorite tracks. So many bangers I personally love in my real time. And Pristine Drifting, Sister What, Soul Absence. Dude, Jacob Kingsley, mate. You legend. You just said it might be your favorite album, full stop. That's fucking crazy. I really appreciate that, man. Oh, yeah, Rob Glow. I've been seeing you about, man. I've been seeing you about retweeting me and shit. Yeah, big surprise. I absolutely enjoy it. You cutie. Oh, y'all are making me so happy, man. I'm so glad that you fuck with the music, bro. Because this really is just me just like making my favorite shit. That's all I'm trying to do. That's all I'm trying to do. And it's cool to me that people are enthusiastic towards like what I perceive as just like my dream music. Like my audience, they're like-minded in that way. I love that. I feel like we'd all be best buds. Every single minute it's on, and every single track is at least good to great in my eyes, with not even a single weak point. I just really love the sounds he explores and how intricate and cohesive everything is. My favorite track on here is Don't Get Hurt for being such a crazy track, especially at the last drop. I kind of consider that track to be the veracity in the warehouse of this album, and that's really saying something. See, look at that. Different take, because we were saying that was the tether to us. Big ups for recommending him, such a hidden gem. Chris, you're my fucking guy. Wow, you guys are going in. Thank y'all, man. Oh, Lapalux fucking Lostmore is fire. I will hear this later today. This stuff is what I follow you for, bro. Bro, hope you have a good time. Amit Kankay. Hope you have a good old time. Ah, this Donnie's been about for a minute. I've been seeing you in the comments. I'm feeling... Oh! This is what we like to hear. I've disappointed you? Oh, this is fast. This dude was really into Rekindle, I remember. You were the one asking for the Lightning World breakdown. And I swear you were asking for breakdowns on the singles too. I like Coruscate a lot. I Seek It Being Unlucky is my favorite from vale-smith. Between his last 3 album streak, this is my least favorite of the bunch. Alright, cool. Everything in Umyo is, keep in mind this is my opinion, kind of the same from his last 2 albums, except it doesn't hit as hard as Rekindle, or the climax is not as rewarding as it is in Coruscate. What? Bruh, wait, nah. Are you serious? That's crazy to me. The climax of Coruscate was a fucking accident, man. Hummingbird was supposed to be track 10. That shit was a mistake. That's a more rewarding climax than Itinerant going into Sister What? I can't see that, seriously. Also, by the way, I don't know if y'all picked up on this. The album loops back in on itself pretty nicely. If you're a Kingdom Hearts fan, you might enjoy how it loops. Same of his last 2, except doesn't hit as hard as Rekindle. Wow, doesn't hit as hard as Rekindle, yeah? Now, this is cool. This is interesting to me. I welcome this take. I welcome it, you know. I like it. I like hearing this. Because, yeah, you're never going to please everyone. I can't expect that. And I would never want that. That'd be fucking boring. I want to hear this point of view. While the sound design in this album is excellent, cheers, the arrangement of these sounds is very underwhelming to me. Seriously, yeah? Damn, bruh. Maybe this will grow on me with repeated listen. I'm still excited to hear what he does next, but Umyo didn't hit that itch for me. Because I really did feel like I built upon what I had nailed with Coruscate and Rekindle and made it into a bigger, more complete and you know, expansive record. But you're saying as a fan of the other 2 that this one was a letdown. So what? Oh wow, that's really interesting to me. I would be interested to see if it does end up growing. I mean, or not. You know, either way, I'll take it, man. And then we got Wonky Slush. He's always there, isn't he? Yeah. All right. Lot to think about, man. And it's like dark out now. That's how long this fucking video took. TheWonkyAngle, I genuinely cannot thank you enough for everything you have done for me, man. Like the reviews, the #1 spot, but just listening and just saying the things you have to say, pulling apart what you've pulled apart, like tapping in and really listening to the progression and what it makes you feel, doing your research on what I'm saying about the process on Twitter or whatever, on YouTube. Like, you really are like somebody who is following what I do with a passion, with interest, and that's like way more than I could ever ask. And like, I really just want to say, like, you're a fucking hero. Every time I watch one of your reviews, I feel very grateful to have someone as brilliantly spoken, well worded, and insightful as yourself giving me feedback. I really could not ask for anyone else. Like, fucking thank you. I love you, man. Thank you so much. You're a dang hero. Seriously. You have got no idea, man. You've got no idea the amount of impact and value that you bring to YouTube, to your viewers, to myself. Like, it just wouldn't be the same without you. And I just want to say, like, fucking truly, deeply thank you. And that's going to conclude this video. Hope you enjoyed watching. Go check out the album if you haven't already. Feel free to let me know in the comments how you're finding the record, if you're enjoying it. If it is a disappointment to you, please do let me know. I would love to hear about it. I'm fully open. You can call me trash. It's all useful information, and I have to be open to that if I want to grow, and I love hearing all the different opinions. So either way, regardless of what anyone says, I am very proud of the record, and I love listening to it personally. And yeah, I hope you guys get some enjoyment out of it, and please let me know what your favorite tracks are if you've heard it, and if you haven't checked it out yet, links are in the description and you can give it a listen for yourself, see what you think. And I'd appreciate just the time of day. Literally, you checking it out is more than I could ask for, really. Like, I appreciate you just giving me the time of day. So yeah, I'll catch y'all on the flip. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I love y'all, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!